very tough to go about this world and not look outward, seeking external things to validate us and to make us feel fulfilled and whole, complete, and quite frankly loved. And I just wanted to really make this video because it's very resonant, particularly with my own past experience. Constantly looking outward, constantly looking at what other people have, constantly looking at other people's experiences, other people's relationships, other people's influences, other people's opportunities, so to speak, right? And you get in this habit, this self perpetuating cycle of destruction, really. It's destruction. You're destroying yourself because you refuse to look inward. And the reason you refuse to look inward is because you don't know any better. Right? Absolutely no condemnation, no shame, and there's no condemnation in Christ Jesus. And you'll not find that from me either, because I was in the exact same boat. I mean, I was pretty much the poster child for this, looking outward, and I was like, why can't I have that? And that right there was the problem. What is lacking? What couldn't I have? There is nothing lacking. I know that now through the redemption of Christ and through the presence and the love of God. But I didn't know that then. I know that now there's nothing lacking. There was never anything lacking. In this moment, this silence, it's perfect. It's complete. It's done. There is nothing to be had because there is nothing lacking. And it is the great it's the great trick of this world to make us think that we are inferior in some way. That some way, shape, or form there's something wrong with us. We are children of God. We are children of God Most High. What is wrong with us? The only thing that could be said to be wrong with us is that we don't know who we are. And since we don't know who we are, we have no idea where we're going. Like, we literally have no idea where we're going because we don't know who we are. However, we can know who we are in the presence of God, and we can know who we are through the teachings and the love of Jesus Christ. And this knowledge, really, it's wisdom, will imbue in us a true sense of self understanding. It will allow us, for better and for worse, okay, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, obviously. It will allow us to see who we actually are and what we actually need to do on this earth. And it's going to look different for different people. But the point is, once you're on the path, you can't get off the path. Once the ball is rolling, the ball is rolling. You're just getting momentum. And you may fail. You're not really failing, though. You're just getting redirected. And you may get rejected. You're not getting rejected, though. We all know God's rejection. It's divine protection. Any rejection, any feelings of that encapsulate rejection really have to do with the ego. And once you see it from a higher perspective through God, you realize that there was never anything wrong with you. You just didn't know who you were. And now that you know who you are through God, you can see that all this external validation, this need for external validation, excuse me, it isn't necessary. It isn't required. It's not a necessary condition. It isn't even a sufficient condition. It's just it just I mean, you can take it or leave it. It is what it is. You don't really care. And paradoxically, since you really don't care and you've detached, you're probably more likely to get it. But at that point, you've become a different person. Like the person who you were at the beginning that would have like hook, line, and sinker fell for that, you can just kind of appreciate it now and kind of just carry on because you're on mission. You have a purpose. You have things you need to do in this world, and you're going to do it. But I found that to be particularly resonant simply because how ridiculously tempting it is to constantly look outside of ourselves at who we think we need to be, at who somebody else is. And I'm not blaming anybody in particular because really it's our own ignorance that allows us to do this, and it's the lies of this world that we believe because we don't know any better. Again, no condemnation. But that which is already complete lacks nothing. That which is already fulfilled needs no external fulfillment. How could it have need of any external fulfillment if all the fulfillment is already had? In the presence of God, everything simply is. All is in all because all is all. So the lacking, that component there, is from a strictly earthly perspective and from an egoic standpoint. And when you're looking at it from an earthly perspective and an egoic standpoint, of course you're going to think you're lacking. Of course, because that's, I mean, that's absolutely what it appears to be. Why can't I have that? Or they have this and I don't have that. Or if I just had this, I would be happy. If I just had this, I would be fulfilled. If I just had this, I would show them all. I would show them all that they were all wrong about me and that, I'm this way and they're that way. You don't need to show anybody anything. God knows who you are. You are known in the presence of God. You are known in the sight of God, in the eyes of Jesus Christ, who is within you. There is no separation. Who is within you. If you seek him, you will find him. Who knocks at the door, and you can open it. You can choose to keep it shut, but you can also choose to open it. If you open it, he will come in, and he will eat with you. The perspective of lack is one that we have essentially been conditioned to perpetuate again and again and again through generations. And it's utterly tragic to see how this destroys families. Not even individuals. It destroys families because it's so infectious. It's so pernicious. And especially when you're operating without that cornerstone of Christ, without that rock that is God, 100% of the time, 10 times out of 10, you already know what's going to happen. You're going to give in to it because you don't know any better. You can't see that from any other perspective. You're literally missing the forest for the trees. And you keep complaining about the trees. Look at the forest, though. You're not, you see how it doesn't compute. That's the way it is. That's how blinded we are when we operate from that perspective of lack. It is the definition of toxic because it poisons our own souls. It literally poisons our own souls and convinces us that we in some way are deficient. That there has to be external validation, requirements from the world so that we may feel whole. It's the other way around. We feel whole and the world corroborates that. We feel fulfilled and the world magically becomes more fulfilling. That's a whole different discussion. I'll go into that in another time. The focus of this talk is lack. And I'm going to keep saying it and keep saying it because I'm saying it to you all as much as I'm saying it to myself. There is nothing lacking. There was never anything lacking. It's already done. It's literally finished. You're talking about doing this and doing that. Doing what? It's finished. It is done. Complete. As in completed. Now, don't get me wrong. I never said you couldn't have external validation. This is important. This is an important caveat and a necessary distinction to make. You can have these things. You can have external validation. You can have the desires of your heart. Absolutely. And I would advocate for that. Obviously within the bounds of reason and righteousness. But you don't need those things to validate you on an inner level. You don't need anything to validate you from this world on an inner level. God does that. We find our deepest fulfillment when we give ourselves over to the Most High, and we allow the Most High to work through us and realize the presence within us in our minds. Okay, well, I'm pointing my brain right now. The brain is not the mind, but for this example, our minds and our hearts. Okay, the mind is infinite in my opinion. That's a heck of a claim to make, but I mean I believe it to be true. The mind is infinite. I'll go into that another time. What we think we need from this world, we will find resolutely all of it in God, and we will find more. Because the world constantly needs to assert itself and reassert itself. It's very loud. It has to be loud. Because if it isn't loud, people will forget about it. People won't pay attention to it. It needs to constantly it's the biggest, most ridiculous attention seeker. And it needs that attention. It needs the attention. If you don't give it the attention, it'll starve. It'll just starve. God doesn't require any noise. He said, be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Be still and realize that all your seeking, all your efforts, all the chasing, all the striving is incomparable to the infinite stillness of the Most High God. It is simply not comparable. And when you realize that, not from an intellectual standpoint, that's not enough. When you open your heart to it, that God will truly allow you to understand. Otherwise, you might get ruminations and echoes of the ego, which you'll still get, no doubt. But you can identify them for what they are, which is illusion, and continue to operate from the rock, which is eternal. Eternal is greater than illusion. And you operate from that perspective, you realize, and it could be just in simple moments when you're going about your day, doing your errands, doing schoolwork, working out, talking to somebody, driving, and you realize on a fundamental level that you are already whole. You are whole, united, united through Christ, with Christ. And you will see with your inner eye, not with your eyes, with your inner eye, you will see there was never anything lacking. And the grace of God has given you the wisdom to conduct yourself with pure self-love and understanding through this realization. And from this realization, you will have various fruits. As it says, you will know them by their fruits. You will have various fruits from this. And it will look different for different people. But I do believe, in common at least, you'll have genuine self-love. The way God loves you. The way a father would love his child. Actual love. You don't need to prove yourself. You're already proven with God. God. Christ has proven his love for you. It's already been proven. It's okay. You are at peace when you see there is nothing external, in this phenomenal world that you require to validate. I'm going to say that again. There is nothing external in this phenomenal world of transience and transitory matter that you need, notice I say the word need here, to validate you. You can have all of these things. You can have all of them, but you don't need them to validate you. That is false. That is a lie. And that's an illusion. Operating on sand, not rock. Storms come, houses on sand, it's going to get destroyed. And you're going to get destroyed with it. Storms come, operating on rock, the house is on rock, you're chilling. You're vibing. You're rolling with the storm. You're like, what was it? You're Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, right? You don't care. You're having a great time. That's actually a great example because he was a great character. You're having a great time, right? And you have that catharsis because you don't have to strive to prove yourself anymore. You can still do what you got to do, you know, still be on purpose, still be on mission, but it's more holistic now. It's more grounded. You're not doing it from an egoic standpoint. You're doing it because it's the man or the woman that God has put you on this earth to be. And realizing that, it is your duty. It is your part now to walk that path and to trust that God will sustain you through it. So always remember that there is nothing lacking with you. There is nothing lacking with you in the presence of the Most High, in the everlasting light of El Shaddai. You are perfectly whole, eternally fulfilled, perpetually satisfied, abundantly overflowing, as it as it does in the land of milk and honey. The noise of this world is illusory. You will still have to deal with it, as I do as well. But you don't identify with it. It can't touch you, since you don't identify with it. The only power it had over you was the power you gave it through identification. You no longer give it that power. As such, now that you identify with God and with the teachings of Jesus Christ, you can have that comfort because that is true identification. That is the rock of truth. Everything else, it can only try to get your attention. And even then, it can't assert itself as it once did because you've taken yourself and that power away from it. You've completely removed your attention. And you keep your eyes focused on Christ and on God. When you do that, it's just noise. It is just noise. And you can hear it. You can process it. It might even make you angry at times. But you process that anger. You hear that. And you remember who you are with God and with Christ. And you move forward. And you move forward free. Because the illusion, the entire time, your entire life up to this point, the illusion was lack. The reality is abundance. The illusion of lack is transformed through the wisdom of the eternal one, that is God, transformed into overflowing abundance. And the one who has abundance will continue to receive abundance. The one who has lack will continue to be lacking. So, to conclude, there is nothing lacking with you. By examining your responses to who you believe that you are and identifying with the Most High and with Jesus Christ and the sacrifice that Christ made, you will see that you are already fulfilled. You are already whole. You are already complete. You can still have the things of this world in a way that is righteous, of course, but you do not need the things of this world to validate you. Jesus Christ has already done that. He's done that quite sufficiently. God has already done that. And that is genuine truth from the Spirit and of the Spirit that exists in each and every one of us. If we only turn our eye inward and look and open our hearts to surrender ourselves to Him. Always remember and never ever forget as you go through this chaotic and at times loud world, always remember who you are. And with that remembrance, go forth in the freedom of the light of God. God bless.